All right, the video a lot of you guys have been waiting for is finally here. We took the throttle from our 2025 BMW S1000RR and we are going to transfer it to our 2023 BMW S1000RR. I'm going to walk you through the entire process, start to finish, including resetting adapts, part numbers, everything you're going to need to make this swap happen for your 20 through 24 BMW S1000RR. Let's get started. First, a little bit of information right here. Now, this is going to be a direct swap, meaning plug and play, exactly the same install procedure as you would for a replacement throttle on your 20 through 24, except this one has a shorter turn on it now. I even did some measurements. I measured this from lock to lock, meaning from 0 to 100 degrees. This is on the 25. This is the 2025 right here. We've got 1 5/8 of an inch from 0 to 100. If we go to the 23 here, on the 23, it's 1 3/4. So the 23, slightly more of a turn, and that's really all the difference it is we're talking about here. So really it just comes down to muscle memory for those of you who have the 20 to 24 models. If you put a 25 throttle on it, it's gonna feel like you're getting more throttle for less turn, which in reality you are, just because we're reducing the total turn. That's what the advantage is of the quick action throttle. Now with that shorter turn, we're going from that 72 degrees to 60 degrees, but we also have a 58 degree counterpart on the M1000RR for 2025. So here's the part numbers for the 2025 BMW S1000RR, and here's the part number for the 2025 BMW M1000RR. There's only 2 degrees less in the M1000RR. Now both of these you cannot buy yet at the dealer, although I do have the part numbers, I managed to get those, but you cannot buy these yet as of the recording this video, which is late in February 2025. Though they should be available soon, and we're looking at $450 for the throttle assembly right here. All right, let's start with pulling off the bar ends here. This is a T40. If I can find the hole, there it is. Now, normally after this is done, there's a small bolt hole. Let's see if we can find it right there. See it right there? Okay, so that's a Torx. And in order to get to it, I don't have a tool that's small enough that fits in this space, so I have to pull off the side fairing. This is optional. If you have a tool that actually is small that fits in there, use that for a Torx, but I don't, so I'm going to pull this side fairing off so I get some clearance so I can actually get a handle in there. All right, the side fairing is off. You want a detailed instruction on how to take the side fairing off. I have one on the fairing swap video, but it's real simple, just a couple bolts, the whole thing comes right out. Now we finally have access here, and again, if you guys have, this is going to be a T9 or a Torx 9. I actually had to use a video scope to actually see what size this was, and I didn't even have a T9, I had to order one. So usually the sets go up to about T10, T9 is a little bit smaller. I thought it was a security because I saw a thing in the center of it, but it's not a security bolt, it's just a regular T9. Now I did see a video of another guy trying to do this and attempting it, and it wasn't very good simply for the fact that he had to take off the entire triple clamp to make this work. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this the proper way, and this is how you do it properly. Now that just fell out my hand, but there it is right there. Such a small, it's a T9, it's minuscule. Now we have to take off another one of these. Now that we got that out, this whole piece will come out, and it's kind of held by the throttle wire assembly, if you can see it back here, which means you got to kind of, trying to position this so you guys can see, got to push it down and pull it out around it, see? And the whole assembly comes out through the bottom there. And that's just a plastic piece that's held by that one piece that we just pulled out, or the one T9 we just pulled out. Now that we've got that uncovered, you can see we've got all the wiring there for the cruise control, for the heated grips, all this fun stuff. So I'm gonna start pulling stuff out. There's a little piece right there, you see this? Kind of holds into the throttle assembly right there. It kind of clips in. There's a little plastic clip in there. You just pull it out, and that kind of frees up everything right there. And there'll be a bolt on this side. You guys can see. I don't think you can. It's way under there. It's buried. Let me see if I can. There we go. Okay, so there we go. That's it right there. That's another T9 we have to remove right there. This is another one's going to fall straight out, so you want to make sure you be careful. I keep my whole hand under this thing while I'm twisting, just to make sure when it falls out, it falls into my hand. And that's exactly what it did. This is the same exact size screw, same head, same everything, T9. Now that that's out, this entire assembly moves out. Just be careful with everything because it's a lot of wiring here you got to be careful with. We just have to expose really this right there. And this holds on the entire throttle assembly, which we're not pulling off just yet. The next steps are going to be to remove this zip tie right here, which you're going to have to replace after we put it back in there. Have to remove this. These are reusable. I don't know why I just didn't use these everywhere. They pull right off and they can go right back on again. There should be 2 of them. One right there. And there's another one right here, right at the top. Let's remove both of these. And then we have to remove this top cover right here to get to the connection for the throttle assembly. 1, 2, 3 bolts right there, and this pulls right out. Okay, on your bike, if you haven't messed with it before, there'll be probably a zip tie right here you'll have to cut. You'll also have to cut a zip tie down here. Be very careful when you're cutting these zip ties, because guess what? You're messing with the throttle assembly and the ECU, and you cut the wrong thing and you start cutting into these cables, it's not going to be a good story. I usually use a flathead screwdriver to squeeze my way in between there, get the arm right there on the arm right here, and pulls out. Now this is free. And this is your throttle assembly cable right here. This is where it connects right in the top of the ECU. Now all you have to do is route it out of here. And let's see the best way. There we go. Now we just pull off this T15 right here. This holds the clip-on to the throttle assembly. This screw goes through the entire clip-on, by the way. It's a little bit long. See? And now you can see the entire throttle assembly pulls out. All we gotta do is disconnect the heated grips right there, which I can't do with one hand. Let me see if I can. Get my nail in there. There we go. Pull. Done. And that's the entire stock throttle assembly right there out. Okay, so we have the 25 throttle assembly here and 23 throttle assembly here. There's absolutely no difference in these throttle assemblies except for how far they turn. That is it. Same connector, same cable, same length, same everything. So this is a direct swap. Okay, so this is easy because it's a direct swap. All we have to do is literally throw this on here, route this wire right here, put everything back together again, and now you have a new quick action throttle in your 2324 BMW S1000RR. Now, of course, this will work on the M1000Rs from prior generations as well. This is not just an S1000R thing. It can work on the XR, the single R, the list goes on and on. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this, and then we gotta reset adaptations. I'm gonna walk you through that as well. So I don't really care to put the whole thing back together again because I actually got to take this throttle off and put it back on toward 2025, which is mutilated at the moment. So let me go ahead and show you guys how to reset adapts. And I'm going to take this bike for a quick ride. As it is, yes, I will take it just like this to make sure it doesn't go into any throttle limp after I do the reset on the adaptations. I also want to note those small little screws that go underneath here. Be very careful putting them in. Even the T10 at the top here, it doesn't require a lot of torque. You'll see when you're pulling it out, it almost feels like it's hand tightened. Just be very careful. You're talking about screws in the plastic, so you don't want to over tighten anything. Just be very careful. It's very easy to do just as long as you're careful. All right, we got the bike keyed on. We got the GS911 tool working here. It's on the back of the bike. Now, I recommend anyone that has a BMW to have this tool. It is a great tool for resetting any kind of adaptations that you're going to need to do, which I do periodically on this bike just to make sure it's tip top and make sure if you have a jerky quick shifter, I'd probably recommend resetting the twist grip, throttle adaptation, and throttle valves. Real easy stuff. We're going to do the twist grip right now just because that's directly related to what we're talking about. But this is an extremely handy device for resetting things like service lights even. So I'd recommend this for anyone. If you're already spending 450 bucks on this thing, you really should have one of these things already. If you don't, have a friend that has one, or you have to go to BMW to use ISTA. That's their diagnostic tool. So it automatically detects the vehicle. Go into here, engine controller, service functions, adaptations, you see right there, and we're gonna reset twist grip. I'll have to do this again once I go back to the stock throttle, but let's just see for you guys here. It's reading 80% right now. It asks me to key off the bike, key it back on. Bike's key back on. Now it's gonna ask me to twist all the way to 100%. 100%. Now it's gonna ask me to close it. Throttle off, or bike off, bike on. Completed. Now I think we should take this bike for a real quick ride. I'm gonna see if I can put it into limp mode, seeing if anything will cause a limp or any kind of issue with the motorcycle, just because it's a different throttle now. Okay, I had absolutely zero throttle limp. Trying to go through all the gears, trying to go through all the throttle positions. I had no issues whatsoever. It is just less of a twist, and that's it, guys. If you want to spend the price of admission, 450 bucks, and of course you need a GS911 tool as well to reset properly so you get 100% throttle, because it will not be 100% once you install it, then I recommend this modification. It's going to give you, for racers for example, even though it seems very small with those measurements, it's going to give you a little bit less of a turn, which is less awkward on your wrist while you're racing. So you have to go over, if anyone's racing, you kind of go over a little bit more to give it full throttle, and then it just feels awkward. Before, on the 20 through 24, you had to twist it a little too far, and it just felt a little too awkward in my opinion. This is a nice upgrade. So now I gotta swap everything back and put everything back on the 25 over there that's in pieces. And then that's gonna be it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.